Program. I want to go across first to Sudheendra Kulkarni. As a man who's seen Modi grow in front of his eyes, who also worked with Vajpayee at his peak, the numbers today suggest that Modi could land more seats than Vajpayee did at his peak, despite having far fewer allies. Janata Dal United no longer there, the DMK no longer part of the NDA, you don't have the BJD part of the NDA, you don't have the TMC. Despite that, Modi brings more to the table, suggests not just the Mood of the Nation opinion poll, but polls done by Nielsen and CSDS as well, Mr. Kulkarni.
There is no doubt that Shri Narendra Modi has galvanized the BJP's election campaign for the forthcoming Lok Sabha elections, and it looks likely that he will lead the BJP to power and form the next government. But that does not mean that he is already more popular than Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee was when he was politically active. We should judge a leader's popularity over a long period of time. Vajpayee ji was popular all across the country long before he became the Prime Minister. It used to be said in the 70s and even the 80s that Atal Bihari Vajpayee is the best Prime Minister India has never had. That was the kind of popularity he had, and the popularity extended across India's social and political spectrum. The same thing cannot be said about Sri Modi today, although I think his politics and his political personality is work in progress. He might well develop into a more popular leader, but for that his politics has to change, his party's politics has to change, and Narendra Modi has to embrace Vajpayee ji's ideals, Vajpayee ji's principles in politics. That is, embrace all sections of society, all sections of India's diverse society.
You've added several points to the debate. I want to take them up one by one and not just get too far ahead of ourselves. I want to bring in some contrarian voices also, starting first with Pawan Verma from the Janata Dal United, because it is Nitish Kumar who went away from the NDA because Narendra Modi was projected as the chairman of the election campaign committee. Now, if you look at these numbers of the Janata Dal United crashing to 4 seats and Modi running away with 20 seats in Bihar, it would seem that Nitish Kumar not just got his calculation all wrong, but he helped the growth of Modi and bringing him to a situation where the question is being asked, Mr. Verma, whether Modi is today eclipsing Vajpayee in terms of popularity, sir.
Now, Rahul, first of all, with regard to your polls, we will see at the time of the elections whether these are anywhere close to reality. But quite apart from that, I think it's an unfair question to ask even the BJP. Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee was a statesman. Mr. Modi is an ambitious politician. Mr. Vajpayee's base and popularity was enduring because I think he represented a phase in the BJP when the BJP itself realized that it must widen its popular base, increase its mass appeal by going beyond a very narrow definition and identification it had. And therefore, Mr. Vajpayee was a man who believed in building bridges, not consolidating divides. The real question that Rahul here that we have to ask is that Mr. Vajpayee never had such a paraphernalia of a projection machinery. Mr. Modi has it. He has been aggressively campaigning. This is the era of social media and 24/7 news. The real question to ask is that if his popularity is greater than Mr. Vajpayee, why has it not really become visible outside the immediate Hindi heartland?
That's an important question.
In the areas where the BJP doesn't cease to exist, and even in the Hindi heartland, ask Mr. Raman Singh why it was neck to neck, and I think you are really being unfair to Shivraj Singh Chauhan and Vasundhara Raje by giving all the credit to Mr. Modi.
No, but that's an important point that you make, and JVL Narasimha Rao must respond, because during Vajpayee's time, the BJP picked up seats in Tamil Nadu, it picked up 4 seats. It picked up seats in Andhra Pradesh where it picked up 7 seats.
I leave you, Rahul, just one point.
Yes, go on.
I want to say to what Sudheendra said. What Sudheendra said, that 3D images in this country must correspond to ground realities. This is a country who's inherently plural, and the need for inclusive growth. Not only growth, we need growth, we need good governance, but a governance which carries everyone,
Okay.
which enthuses everyone.
Okay, you made that
I
point.
think that